Hey, what's going on, guys? So I recently found a great admiration for the philosophy of Stoicism. Me being in my mid-20s, I personally feel like I grew up a little soft and unprepared for the real world. And I think applying this philosophy going forward can be really beneficial, and thus I want to make this video and share with you guys as well. So the basic definition of Stoicism is the endurance of pain or hardship without the display of feelings and without complaint. Stoicism is rooted on the basis that most things are not in our control, and to make the best of the little that we are able to. It got started by a guy named Zeno back around 300 BC, who was a wealthy merchant who built his empire but later got into a shipwreck and lost everything. Now most people, especially at that time, would have just ended it all, but he sought out to change his mind and the way he processed life in order to rebuild and regrow his business. And I think a great movie that exemplifies Stoicism in this manner is The Pursuit of Happyness. I'm sure many of y'all have seen this movie, but I want to give a deeper dive into some of the Stoic behaviors that are shown by Chris Gardner. So as is known, Will Smith plays the character of the real-life Chris Gardner, a salesman that invested his life savings into a portable bone density scanner. In initial investment, he thought that would bring a big return, but as he introduced it to many doctors and hospitals, they were not too keen and enthusiastic about the scanners as much as he was. He had a hard time selling them, and the lag between the sales and growing amount of financial demands caused a big strain on his life. His car got repossessed, his wife leaves him, his landlord evicted him, and he ends up becoming homeless. The little money he has also gets confiscated by the IRS for failing to pay his taxes. He ends up only having $21 left in his bank account and is forced to sleep at homeless shelters and even more tragic times at public restrooms. With little to fall back on, his only hopes are the scanners, his son, and an unpaid internship he got by impressing a lead manager at a stock brokerage firm by solving a Rubik's Cube. Getting this internship was a turning point in his life as it provided light at the end of the tunnel. But the night before the interview, he gets arrested for failing to pay parking tickets. He ends up spending the night in jail, then rushes the next morning in his raggedy clothes to the interview. He miraculously gets accepted for the unpaid internship and starts competing with 19 other interns for a paid position. The 6 months he organized his time in studying the business, making phone calls, meeting clients, while on the weekends he would sell his scanners. He also had to pick up his son from daycare and reach the homeless shelter by 5 in order to find space to sleep. He even goes to the extent to sell his blood to repair a broken scanner. All this to get to the end of 6 months not knowing who's going to get hired, but to keep a calm attitude and continue to work hard and letting go of whatever that was out of his control. But in the end, he does get hired and becomes a stockbroker. Then years later, he goes on to open up his own multi-million-dollar brokerage firm. A true story of rags to riches, clearly dignifying Stoicism and the power it can bring to one's life. The ability of controlling his emotions and not breaking down after each thing that gets taken away from him, while also having the willpower to keep striving without a clear end goal. No pun intended. Also making the best use of his time, whether that was studying at night, arriving early to the internship, making it to the homeless shelter by 5 every day, and selling the scanners on the weekends. He organized his schedule and met up with those dates to be more efficient. A great Stoic philosophy is that of memento mori. Remember that you will die. It's a constant reminder that life is temporary, and not to get hung up on life's trivial things. We are only a tiny speck in this massive universe, and that regardless of what's going on in life, good or bad, you are aware of your emotions and confronted with logic and reason. A Stoic strength is reaching inner peace. This is not to say that Stoics don't show any type of emotion, or that they shouldn't, but they do not get overwhelmed by the ups and downs of life. A great example in the movie is after a long day, both Chris and his son, both physically and mentally exhausted, get back home to the motel and see that all their stuff is sitting outside. And after a brief stance of trying to open the door and denial of the situation, he gets up, takes his things, and figures out what to do next, all while containing his child who started to throw a tantrum. Some things I can learn from this movie and Chris Gardner's life is being more in control of my emotions. A lot of times where I felt I spent too much time dwelling on something that didn't happen for me, or giving it my all and having it not pay off and then play the victim card and make that as an excuse to not get up and try again. But instead to take the lessons from the failures and to just keep going regardless of whatever curveballs life may throw at me. Paying no attention to the things I can control, but to instead focus on the things I do and what I have to do next. A great mindset to have for the creatives or the entrepreneurs out there, and anyone wanting to just become a better person. So if you liked today's video, I would appreciate it if you can give a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I would also like to thank all the new subscribers on my channel. I got a lot more content coming out, so stay tuned guys. Take care and peace out.